I would advise everybody forget your inner circle, because if you're relying on your inner circle, your business is already dead. So you need to start outside your inner circle. And it's like anything else. You have to network, you have to get out there, you have to be known, you have to get yourself known. So I'll get specific on that. But first and foremost, you have to become an expert. So you need to fully understand the business you're in, everything about that business, so that when you're talking like I am today, you're fluent in the language of the business and the investments that you're working in. And then you need to make sure everybody knows what it is you do. Now, you don't want to be overbearing, and you don't want to go everywhere and just, throw out business cards and say, hey, I have deals you can invest in. What you want to do is you want to be very specific and deliberate about your interactions. It's a contact sport. So you need a system. So number one, you have to have a presence on the internet. You need a website that looks professional, that's dialed in, that has the kind of language that conveys that you're a professional, that you know what you're doing, and that your outfit is sophisticated, like Excite Capital. If you go to their website, it's very well done. It looks like a sophisticated operation. So you want to make sure you've got a great web presence. You have to have a good social media presence: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. YouTube is huge. You've got to have a YouTube channel that you're putting out regular content if you are wired that way. If you're not wired that way from a social media standpoint, then at the very minimum, you got to have a website, that's very professional looking and dialed in and talks about what you are and your company. And you need an investor portal for people to sign up in and be able to, get on your investor list. And just like Excite Capital, you need to have a sample deal. So when you go to that website, you fill out your information, you can download a sample deal that shows a deal that you've either done, working on, or just a sample deal, the offering memorandum, operating agreement, subscription agreement, the whole 9 yards. And then frequently asked questions, answering those. And the best thing to do is have a video going through the FAQ, so that your investors, potential investors, get to know you before you ever meet them. So that's the whole content strategy. And your website, social media, all that needs to be consistent and congruent across all platforms, meaning all of your headers need to be the same, your logos, your profile picture, all of it needs to be dialed in professional. Go to my website, look at that, look at all my social media, same profile pic throughout everything, same titles, same links, same website, everything's the same. Email address, all that. You need a professional email address, Excite Capital. So it needs to be Greg at Excite Capital, not Greg at Gmail. So, those types of things. And then more specifically, how do you, now that you've got all that set up, now you need to bring people to you. So you can do it at the very basic level by attending networking groups and meetups, not just real estate related, but you need to think about who is your target audience. In other words, who has money they can invest with you? That's going to be professionals generally, business owners, professionals. If you're a medical professional, they're going to relate to you well. So that should be your immediate target audience, is your peers, your colleagues in your industry. Go to industry events and meet people, because everybody's looking for opportunities. Everybody wants to grow their capital, especially right now, because there's no yield at all anywhere out there without significant risk. So syndication now has taken on more of a risk off kind of a trade, where it used to be very risk on. So it's become so mainstream now that it's not even a risk on trade. So there's great yields that can be had. There's people that have retirement funds that they can invest with you. There's people that need to do tax exchanges that can invest with you. So you want to attend these events, and you want to make sure that, you have your presentation ready. And I don't mean like a scripted presentation, but when you meet somebody in an event and they ask you what you do, you need to be prepared and just a real quick answer what it is you do, and kind of plant the seed to set up the next meeting. Hey, I invest in multifamily properties in Atlanta, Georgia market, class A, $40–50 million, things like that. And I have people that invest with us, and they generate above average returns on their investments that you just can't find anywhere else. But we can talk about that another time. Tell me about you. Tell me what you do. So it's all about them. And what you need to understand is you need to approach it from the standpoint of service. Capital is looking for yield. You have an opportunity, if you're raising capital for a deal, that they need you. So first and foremost, understand you're needed. And if you're a professional and you're good and you're dialed in and you know what you're doing, you're providing a valuable service out there. So that's one way to do it, is to, physically attend these meetings, get yourself booked on podcasts and talking about the industry, or if you're an expert in the medical profession and you have something that will help other medical professionals, then get yourself booked on some podcasts that speak to those audience and provide value. Hey, here's the #1 legal issue facing medical professionals today that you need to know about. And then come on and talk about that. And then, and when they're giving your bio, they talk, oh yeah, well, this is what I do for my business, but I also invest in real estate. And here's, we do that. And, here's my link if people want to learn more about that. But let's talk about this legal issue that you need to be aware of. Or, if you're an entrepreneur or business owner, here's one of the 3 things you need to know in today's world to be effective in your marketing if you're an entrepreneur or small business owner. So if that's your target audience, get yourself booked on podcasts or other events to speak to those audiences and share your expertise in whatever it is that you do, to get yourself out there. And then lastly, if you are somebody who's not afraid to be in front of the camera, video is huge, making short pieces of content that provides value to the audience, talks about the deals you're doing, how the business works, how people can invest in these things, that kind of stuff, all kinds of strategies out there like that. So, I mean, that's how you do it. And, it's a system. So what you want to do is you want to start with, how much money do I need to raise? Do I need to raise $1 million? How much, do you think you can get per investor? Is it 10,000, 50,000, 100,000? So let's just use easy numbers. I need to raise $1 million. I know I can get $100,000 from, people in my peer group, colleagues, not my friends and family. Forget them. Go after, outside of that network. The last thing you want is a deal that goes south with friends and family. And you don't want to have to rely on that. So think about, that. And if you don't have any colleagues, find some. So everybody does something that they're good at, they're professionals, whatever. So there's an audience you can speak to. So if you need to raise $1 million, you just need to find 10 people with 100 grand or 20 people with 50 grand. If you need to raise $50 million, you need 50 people with $1 million, or 100 with $500,000, or 200 with, what you see what I'm saying? So put that down, reverse engineer that and say, okay, I know that I need to meet, if I need to raise $1 million and I need 10 people with 100 grand. And I know that in the past, if you raise money, you've had to talk to 100 people to get to that point, then you need to make a point every single day to talk to so many people to generate that. So it's a business model. And you need to have them in your investor portal so that they're signed up, they're committing to how much money they have. So in your investor portal, and there's some cheap ones out there that you can get started with, like, Update Capital, Syndication Pro, things like that are just a link you can add to your website. So people can get in and they can start committing, to how much money they have to invest. So you can look at your portal as you're funneling people in, you can see how much money you have that can potentially be committed to deals, and then raise twice as much as you think you need minimum. Because when you go to call the capital, about half of it's going to come in for all kinds of different reasons. And then the last thing is Bigger Pockets is a great place to network. There's a lot of people on Bigger Pockets. They have a commercial multifamily forum. They have a real estate investing forum or real estate development forum. They have residential forums. And there's people in there looking to invest. They're looking for good operators to invest with. So you can't solicit, but you can go in there and answer questions, and you'll see people asking questions. So you can go in there and answer questions. You want to set up your profile with your company link and all that. And people will see that you know what you're talking about. They'll reach out to you to invest with you in your deals. So those types of things. So remember, service first, seek to serve others, seek to solve problems, and have a system in place to build that investor database, and have an investor portal set up so that people can go to that and they can get in there and get to know you, see what your deals look like, how it works, answer all the frequently asked questions, and then tell you how much money they're looking to invest.